War Eagle, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together and we're talking about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. Always heavy on the sports here, but if it's orange and blue, it's what we get into because we love talking about anything and everything Auburn. Thank you for joining me on this very late night live stream. Not like the latest thing we've ever done in the world, but it's late. And I know a lot of you are probably like seeing this on the replay. What the heck? I didn't know you were going live. That's the beauty of being subscribed with that notification bell. So you know when we go live, so you can be part of any live stream because you never know when we might want to drop something in here. So today on this live stream, we want to talk mainly about reaction to the first fall press conference for Coach Harsin, breaking down what he said, the questions that were asked, responses, speculation about that. I've got a few opinions that I want to talk about, but whenever we get together, we can obviously talk about anything and everything. So don't be shocked if we bounce around to a couple of different topics. But I hope that you'll join in with us on this discussion tonight and have a little fun, share your comments, your questions. Who knows? I might get a little crazy tonight and let you call in. We'll never know. We'll see what happens. But that's what's on the plate for tonight. I'll be honest with you. It's probably not going to be a super long live stream tonight. Of course, I say that, and then I'll get into things and not. But we're going to at least cover the majority of what was said there and my thoughts and impressions on that. So as you're coming in, a lot of you know the drill. Post your War Eagle, first of all, but post where you're watching from, city, state, all that good stuff, international stuff. We want to know who's watching, where you're watching from, and invite a friend if you haven't already. Invite them to be part of our little family within the Auburn family. The more the merrier is what I always say. Good to see familiar faces like Joe Rudolph and John Stokes. John and Joe are both not only E2C Network Booster Club members, but members of this channel or a official channel supporter for this as well. If you want to get icons like they have or have the access to emojis and inside information, all that's available in the description links. You can even join by hitting the join button down there below. So those are two of the people that are popping up. All right, Jackson, Tennessee. I always forget that's where Joe's from. It throws me off. Jackson, Tennessee. Don't see too many people from Jackson, Tennessee calling in. All right. So what I want to do is obviously break down a little bit about what was said in the press conference, initial reactions. This is not like hardcore hitting analysis of what he said. What I did, and I don't know if everybody else has this routine. What I did is I took each question and kind of listened to the question, the response, and kind of stop for a second to kind of see what I interpret out of each of those things. So I don't have them all listed down. We'll just bounce around to a couple of the things tonight. But if there's a particular topic that you want to hit on from the press conference, something that he addressed that you'd like to have addressed further here, please don't be shy and feel free to do so. Chris Walker, War Eagle to you as well. Thanks for being here. And Joe from Montgomery checking in. We got Tennessee and Alabama both represented tonight. So I think one of the first things that he addressed or that was asked of him, it really wasn't more of a question than a statement. They just wanted him to comment on it, was competition and the importance of it for Auburn currently and at what certain positions and things like that. Now, you see where this is going. Like everybody wants to kind of try to get some type of comment, a quote from the coach to suggest that there's going to be some type of battle. What's been the most hotly contested topic this entire summer when it comes to Auburn football? Who should be quarterback one? We've done a video on it here. If you want to check out our thoughts on that, you can find it. I don't have a link for it available here, but it's on our channel. Breaking down, I even give you percentage chance of who is going to be the starting quarterback. But that's kind of what they were getting at. But they're asking for the other position battles as well. And you always see this in fall camp, right? Every fall camp, there's always the question of who's going to be the starter at this, who's going to be, even if it looks like there's clear starters, people want to know who's the next up and coming name. What stuck out to me was Coach, again, reiterating, saying, yes, every position is wide open. And I think what I picked up on mostly from him was stressing the fact that it's open, especially now, meaning with the new staff, new eyes on you, new opportunities. One thing that I like that he pointed out is that they used, and this is, things that he's sharing here is not some like new ingenuitive things that no other coach does, but I'm glad that he points this out so that we can understand his thought process for him and the coaches. He said that he and the coaches used spring practice to kind of see what they had available to them. Makes sense, right? But what I love that he addressed was that he gave some chores, I guess is what you'd say, pointers, things to work on to all or some or particular groups and players that think they need to see an improvement wise. You think that he and Bo Nix had some conversations about where to improve? I bet they did. I bet they had a lot of conversations about that because Coach Harsin is not shocked that Bo Nix is probably going to be his starting quarterback. I know that comes as a revelation to a lot of people out there, but Bo Nix is the starting quarterback and will be the starting quarterback, barring unforeseen circumstances. I've said that they're going to start fall practice tomorrow, and I'm not even going to say it. Knocking on wood right here. I'm not going to jinx this tonight. But what do you all think about that? Position battles? Not necessarily, you can talk about the quarterback battle, but what do you think about that mentality? Do you like that coach is acknowledging that they gave some pointers, some things to work on for certain groups, positions, players, things like that? And so now what they're doing is taking what they learned in the spring, what they told them to work on in the fall, and seeing who did it, who didn't. And that's going to really determine what the position battles are. Yes, there's going to be some battles for necessity, offensive line. He even addressed that in a further question. There's going to be a lot more mixing and matching, trying to figure out what's going on with that unit. But there is opportunities abound. If you were someone that was buried into the Auburn football depth chart, now is the time to make your move and make your mark and earn some playing time. And I think that you should be able to do that. The opportunity is there for you. Another big thing that they address. Good to see you, Chris. He says from Richmond, Virginia. We got Tennessee, Virginia. Watch. We got a lot of people watching right now. A lot of you haven't posted where you're watching from. Don't be shy. War Eagle and City State, International, all that stuff. Let us know where you're watching from. I know this is a big, and I know we cover a wide and diverse listener base, many opinions, feelings, ethics on this very important and controversial subject. Again, Coach Harsin was asked about the vaccination stuff. I love his continued um, concentration on players' privacy, but also concentration on giving them the opportunities to be educated. And I think that's all that you can ask of a coach in that situation is that he's not sitting there ignoring the reality of the situation, but he's acknowledging, hey, this is a situation we all need to be well informed on, and they need to make the best decision for themselves. It's not saying, hey, you're stupid if you make one decision or the other. It's saying, here's all the information we have for you. You go and make the best possible decision that you can. I love that mentality about him. Sports with Cord in the house. What's going on? Good to see him, my man. Sports with Cord's also got a good channel, so go check him out if you haven't already. Wade Jackson from Texas. We got Texas, Tennessee, Virginia, Alabama, all checking in. Good crowd tonight. Good crowd, especially on a late night. I was kind of worried we wouldn't have a lot of people wanting to be here live on a later show on this night. But if you're wondering, because every sports reporter out there who wants to get their little clicks, is the team getting their vaccination rate up? Coach Harsin says it's improved, but he never declined, but he said anytime he was pressed, he said, I would not give it a number as to how far to improve. I would not worry about that so much. Well, I use one of my favorite phrases that my wife loves to remind me that I use all the time. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it if it's going to be an issue or things like that. You can only take with what you have at hand to work with right now. Another interesting thing, he was also asked about Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC. And I found it funny because The moment that question got asked, I was like, "Oh Lord, here it comes." I've known what he said about press conference dumb questions before. And it was not that it's a dumb question, but Coach Harsin's a guy that is laser focused and doesn't really want to address things too far off in the future. The guy asked, I had to forget which reporter it was, what are your opinions of Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC? He looks at him and he goes, "When's that happening again? Or what year's that coming down?" And you could see he was wanting to kind of be sarcastic, but also and be funny at the same and kind of be snarky at the same time. And I think Coach Harsin also realized that, and the reporter also realized, well, I probably shouldn't have asked that or asked it in that way, framed the question a different way where it could be useful for him. Coach Harsin kind of turned it down. He had, as I said last on the live stream, please don't hate me for saying this. Coach Harsin is Nick Saban with a personality. Done. Said I don't need any more proof than that question right there. What do you think about Oklahoma and Texas coming to the SEC? When's that happening again? Got a while to worry about that. And I think he really held his tongue on that. So you got to love that about him. Very frank, honest, and you don't really wonder too much where his head's at on some things. I didn't see the Twitter post earlier, Chris. You'll have to remind me what that was about. Where can we watch the actual presser? Can't find it. You know what? I'll probably go share it on our Facebook group. The Auburn Family Tree is what it's called. So you guys can do that. But you can go to Auburn Football's Twitter, Facebook accounts. It's up there. It's not on YouTube, I don't think. But that's where you can watch it. It's a good watch. You know, most press conferences I get bored with because it's literally just rephrasing of the same questions that you hear all the time, unless something really big is happening. But there were a lot of different topics covered, as you would expect at an opening fall presser. And, you know, I think uh, I think there's something that you can kind of take away with, even if you're not interested in any of the topics. There was just a lot of different things covered. Neil says, what press conference? Well, they didn't make a really big to do about it, but it was a press conference with Coach Harsin. They start practice tomorrow. If you haven't heard, take a sip. Yes. So they start practice tomorrow. That was another thing that Coach Harsin addressed with his opening statement. That everybody was supposed to report there tonight. They're probably finishing up, if not already done, with a team meeting as we're actually doing this live right now. And they start hitting tomorrow. Pads, helmets, everything's, and you gotta love it. It honestly, it snuck up on me. Did it poll the room? Did it sneak up on YouTube? Were you aware that tomorrow was the start of fall practice? Like subconsciously, I knew it was, but I forgot. It took the press conference popping up in my news feed for me to remember that. Yes. Oh, right. It's August, right? Didn't it all sneak up? It snuck up on me. It really, really did. So that is it's just crazy to think about. And here's another thing, and this is just kind of a general statement about the whole thing. This is the first time that I remember in over a year of things feeling normal, like this is the normal routine of things. Like the fact that we're not worrying about quote unquote shutdowns as of this moment, and when we're going to be playing again. We're just worried about, hey, practice starts tomorrow. What's the position battles? It felt good, didn't it? Felt good for it just to be kind of somewhat back to normal. Jacob, you ask and you shall receive. You can get a shout out. Shout out to Jacob. Hope that did something for you there. No, I love to throw everybody's comments and questions up there, so you'll get plenty of shout outs if you ask comments or drop comments or ask questions here in the chat right now. All right, real quick, and we'll keep cycling through all this stuff and the topics things. Just want to remind you of a couple things. If you haven't already, please check out the links in the description. Ways you can help support what we do here. Working towards doing this more often, and you can help me do that by supporting what we're doing here, joining the Booster Club, or even more simply, just being a supporter here on the channel. Hit that join button. It's really cheap, and you just get a few little small perks to go with that. But if you really want to crank it up a notch, the Booster Club is where you join up and you get some really inside information stuff. In fact, Booster Club members, I will be, though some of you are here, tomorrow I will be interviewing someone very important with the Auburn family on Auburn roots, telling their Auburn story. You all will know, obviously, as you typically do, who that is first. I'm really excited about it. Super nervous too. but it'll be fun. Sports Record. Coach Harsin is a modern day Saban. Don't like crazy questions. Laser focused. See, okay, let's just all address the ickiness of that. Okay, uh, it it doesn't feel right to acknowledge that he's Nick Saban. He is okay, and I'm not talking about wins and losses yet. We're just talking about personality. And I said earlier, Coach Harsin is Nick Saban with a personality, literally, because you saw him make the snarky comment, and then all of a sudden just caught himself and said, "Probably don't need to do that right now. Let me just address it, even though it's stupid, and I don't need to talk further about it." But yeah, Harsin's Twitter post was yesterday at 11. I'm missing that one. Is there actually a NFL game on right now? I wasn't aware of that. Honestly, I'm not a huge NFL fan. But I follow our things right there. Oh, John, you are clutch, my man. So for those of you that are asking, the presser is now up on YouTube if you want to go check it out up there on there. Hope you'll stay here and then you'll go check it out. But I do want you all to know that you can go watch it on YouTube if you want to after this. They really didn't make a big deal about it. Honestly, I was kind of shocked about that. Another thing that was asked of Coach Harsin, Bo Nix had addressed at SEC Media Days that Demetrius Robertson, from coming over from Georgia, still had some things to kind of clean up transfer-wise coming over from Georgia to Auburn for academics. This is not anything new. This happens a lot, and sometimes it's not because there's an academic problem. There's classes that transfer over, where do they place, financial stuff. All this is just, kinks that have to be worked out. Now, you would have hoped it's been 3-4 weeks since all that happened, that this would have been taken care of by then. Sometimes it just doesn't. But Coach Harsin addressed this and said that he was not at the team meeting tonight. He would probably not be at practice tomorrow, but he hopes to have him there within the next day or so. So that's a good sign. I wouldn't read too much into it. Don't get super stressed about it and worry. Look, we were going to go into the season without a marquee wide receiver anyway. So even if he doesn't show up at all, don't stress about it just too much. Safe to say that Coach Harsin will not. See, here's the problem is, like, War Dustbuster, I love it so much, but people who just tuned into this channel are like, what on earth are you talking about? You got to be here more often if you want to know what that is. Cowboys and Steelers, I'm going to pick Steelers on that one. Have no reason to think that, but that's how connected to the NFL I am right now. Alan, good to see you. Thanks for being here, my man. Thanks for tuning in to our little analysis of the press conference. All right, I like I said, this was going to be a shorter stream, but get some last minute comments and questions in here, derogatory rebuttals. We'll probably get back together a lot more in the next coming days with fall practice starting. But I did want to hop on and just kind of initially react to some of the things that were being addressed today. Another thing that was talked about in the press conference, they asked him a lot about his defensive backfield. And Coach acknowledged the upperclassmen, the experience that he has in that area. But what he really focused attention towards is the younger guys, and talking a lot about figuring out what they bring to the table. I think you could, obviously, anytime we talk about what coaches are saying and stuff, you're really just speculating. So I admit that out front here. But what I took away from that is Coach Harsin, and by proxy, Coach Mason, especially being the defensive coordinator, but also the defensive backs focus guy, feel really comfortable about where they are, not just depth-wise, but the potential of that group, which is why they've focused now on the younger guys. Because if they feel pretty secure there, they're going to start turning their attention to the future of that positional group, not just because we'll be losing a lot of talent and stuff there, but because they probably feel like they have the assurity that they don't have to be so laser focused on making sure this is right. This is a group that showed them, that they can do that. Yeah. Anytime you can drop a war dustbuster in here, I'm not mad at it. Chris says Bo Jackson and Sir Charles approve of Harsin. Yeah, they do. Of course they do, and they approved of Coach Malzahn as well. I don't think that you're going to find too many people that disagree with that. What position group are you looking forward to seeing progress? Offensive line. They asked him about offensive line as well, and they specifically asked the question: are you going to be can you give us like some names for left and right tackles, which is what the two positions on offensive line that most people focus on because they are so important to the rush protection. Again, declined to give any names, and then he like kind of backtracked and said, "Well, I do know who they are, but." He said that there's going to be tackles playing at guard, centers playing at tackle, just trying to. It really is a position where you got to just see what works at this point because it's been in such a bad way for such a long time. So I mean, I know I sound like a broken record here on these live streams on this channel, but Auburn's success will be determined by the offensive line, and not it's not just Auburn. That's every team. Alabama is successful because they have built a powerhouse at offensive line. Mac Jones, while decent, is not a world beater at quarterback. I'm sorry, he's not. Tua, that's a different story. Mac Jones is not. Mac Jones was made better because of his offensive line. My hope is AU gets back to the great days of solid defense, aka Tuberville 2004. I don't. We had a great defense, Neil. For most of the years under Coach Malzahn with Kevin Steele here. It just the defense and the offense never seemed to be on the same page at the same time. And so one always was kind of helping the other, more so the defense for the offense the last couple of years. Yes, Mac Jones was super hyped up. Sports with Cord, thank you for the kind words, sir. I appreciate that. All right, couple more things here, and then I'm going to head out. So let me just address that. I'm looking forward to the passing game improvement. It's been the Achilles heel for a while now. I agree that the offensive line will determine our success. Well, and I agree with you, but I take that a step further, and I'm looking for the passing game to improve because of the offensive line play. If Bo can't have time to settle down and not worry about getting sacked, then the passing game is going to continue to suffer. A lot of that's on him too. So please hear me when I say that. I'm not just blaming the offensive line. Bo's got to learn to trust, but they got to give him reasons to trust too. So there's a lot of give and take with position battles, but especially the offensive line and that type of situation there. All right, boys and girls. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I know this was a very short and late night live stream. A lot of you tuned in. If you haven't, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Smash that like button on the way out. Thank you guys for being here and stay tuned. Probably more coming out the next couple of days as fall practice gets started. Till I talk to you again, my friends.